put to jail, and the lawyer kept them, and they ate her neighbor.
What are you doing, Charles? You're oh, okay. That's what we hear. Where you headed? Okay. So you're being lazy today. You don't want to drive, but you know what? That's probably a good thing because you're like Rambo out there on the road. You run over people. Hmm. Not gonna be pretty, is it? I feel you. Now, what did you talk about on your show today? Did you do your show today? Yeah, what'd you talk about? Hmm.
Oh, give me a break. Yeah.
What did she do illegal? Yeah. Okay. Well, 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 maybe her paperwork is in order and his was not. Well, well, okay. Well, but wait a minute, but he wasn't documented properly to do business as a 501(c)(3). No, 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 Charles, Charles, take it easy. Take it easy. You're gonna have a horrible golf game if you don't calm down. Well, okay. Well, maybe they have looked into that and they found no basis for going after. Okay. Well, I don't know what they have or have not done. Okay. Well, then why don't you get a petition together or do what? Okay. Well, then that's a choice that you can make. Sure. Well, it is. You choose not to do anything unless they pay you. So what's the difference between that and what you're accusing Clinton of doing? Pay for play. Well, okay. Charles, let me ask you a question. Do you sleep at night or do you rest well? You seem a little round up. He's multitasking. Yeah.
You better knock on wood.
Yeah, right.
You better knock on wood.
Better get on your knees and thank God for getting back safely.
No, he wasn't ready to take you yet.
That's right. Your number wasn't up. Hey, Charles, let me ask you a question. In terms of military might, our ability to perform well in war, what would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe this is an unfair question, but how would you rank the United States military? Wait a minute. 10, hold on,
No,
wait a minute,
what did
hold on.
you just say? I didn't hear that.
You gave it a 10, but then you're coming up with all these negatives. 10, no, what, then that would be a, no. In terms of military might, our ability to defend or attack. So, but see, you go, hold on, slow down, Jim Shoe. And my question was very simple. Do we have the capabilities? Do we have the military might? Then why does Donald Trump keep saying our military is weak?
Well, maybe he should have his sons in there.
Okay, let me ask you: if you were the head of the Joint Chief of Staff, you're the main guy. You're having this one-on-one with the President of the United States. What would be your military recommendations to the president, regardless of who it is, for in terms of enhancing, changing, modifying, deleting, whatever, as relates to the overall military, all the branches? So so that's your major issue. You're sitting in front of the president, and you want to bring up the the right or not to have gays and
You know
lesbians
what
in the
really
military.
bothers me though?
So if someone is gay or lesbian and they're willing to put their life on the line, why shouldn't they? Why?
Well, I don't understand
Uh,
that because what if I was a lesbian? That
go
that,
have
that
go
means
have a
something's wrong with me.
go have a good golf game. That's what you call a troll. He comes in and drops a stink bomb and leaves the room.
No, I told a friend of mine this morning because she didn't realize that a lot of your friends are Republicans.
Well, not a lot. I have about four
But
or
I told
five,
her
four
they're
or
bad.
five loudmouth
It
duck
really
fluffers.
bothers me when they talk about gay people and things like that. Bothers
Well,
me
that's because
because
they're insecure
it's
with
obvious
themselves.
that you're one of those bad Christians.
Yeah. People like Charles, I usually look at them as being a bit insecure with themselves and they're just tripping. And I don't let them get under my skin. I ask them tough questions and see how they come back. But you see how when I asked him a question, and you're the guy.
Where'd he
You
go?
he had to go play golf, and maybe one of those
Balls
gophers
away.
will bite him in the ass or something while he's out there. Take his balls and run with them, both of them. But you know, I gave him an opportunity. I set up a scenario where he's the head of the Joint Chief of Staff. He's the top guy over at the Pentagon, representing all the military branches. He's sitting down with the president, and his biggest issue would be not allowing gays and lesbians in the military. You see, That would not be my major concern. My major concern is, do we have the equipment? Do we have well trained military personnel? Do we have our shit together? Are we ahead of everybody else in the world in terms of technology advancements, aircraft, our marine outfit,
We should be. We fight everybody's wars with them.
our ships? Are those up to date? Are we ahead still of all other military might around the world? But he wanted to go to the lowest common denominator and complain about lesbians and gays in the military. Somehow, to me, the priority is a little upside down on that. Donald Trump has a couple hundred admirals and generals that are supporting him. All of them are older than me. And they're still walking around talking about we need more boots on the ground. And we need more battleships and destroyers and aircraft carriers and all of that. That's why your old ass is sitting at home watching TV, watching the military channel, checking out the old flicks from World War II and World War One and the Korean conflict and Vietnam and all that because your brain has stopped working. Time has moved on. New technology is available, and you still want to talk about the concepts and the applications that we used back in the old days. That, to me, as I see it, this is my opinion, is not a winning formula. Not for today. You know, we're using drones and missiles that you can fire off 1,000 miles away and hit the target with precision. You don't need the same type of military that we had in World War II or the Korean conflict or Vietnam for that matter. It's a different world. Technology has changed, and maybe some of these old farts. And I listen. I respect them for what they did when they were doing what they were doing. And that's why you're retired. You're out of your league. Charles Butler sends me a message. I told you there are saltwater gators. I've swam in Florida and overseas. There are gators that do end up in salt water. That's not their natural habitat, crackhead. They have adopted to going into salt water, but you will not see gators in salt water the way you would see crocodiles.
Did you,
A little bit of knowledge.
there's some breaking news.
What you got?
The kid where they've all been protesting in South LA,
Hmm.
a video has surfaced and you could see him running with a semi-automatic.
Well, he messed up. You
No,
know,
but all this protesting saying an innocent person, you can blatantly see him with this semi-automatic. He's running with it. Just
hmm
came on the news.
well, that's why he's not here today because
But all this
that
breaking
goes
up
down.
people's cars and standing on them.
Well, that was an
I just
overreaction.
talked about that with some friends this morning, saying all these people aren't innocent now, just like all these cops aren't innocent. But
Well, that's true, and
this has
that's why
caused a lot of problems, and he definitely has a semi-automatic. You see it.
well, that's why I refuse to rush to judgment on these situations. I always try to wait until the investigation is concluded before I vocalize an opinion on it. Let me say hello to a few people here that are watching us on Facebook. Joel, what's up? Donald Grammer, Lon McHugh over at KJLH. Nino, Chris Bass. Chris, we should talk later today. And Arthur and Gloria Newberg. Thank you for checking in, Gloria. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you to everyone that's checking in with us on Facebook. I am streaming today from an iPad on Facebook. And what's up, Al Greer? How you doing, buddy? And we got our streaming machine back up yesterday. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes or so to do a Windows 10 update. I don't understand that at all. Then after I got the machine up, then our streaming software wanted to do an update. Unbelievable. So I apologize with what we had to deal with yesterday. It was on a phone, and I didn't realize the Wi-Fi wasn't turned on, so it was streaming out over regular cell connection, which was not that good. What I watched it last night, and it was not very clear. So hopefully today, with the iPad on our Wi-Fi here, it should be a better stream. And you can also check us out on YouTube. Just Google not Google, but do a search for the Lee Michaels Show, and you should find it there on a couple of places under my personal YouTube page, which is I Radio Coach, and also on our streaming network of The Power of Voices. And you can also listen to us, as I see a bunch of people watching or listening to us, at our website, thepowerofvoices.com. So if you don't want to see me sitting here in my t-shirt, I'm laid back today.
Yeah, but you got a nice new haircut.
Yeah. I think you cut it a little too close on this side.
No, I
It's a
kind of
little more-
liked it. I'd seen you in your car or something. You were on the
Yeah,
talking and thought, wow, his hair looks nice.
little close though, on one side. I think Marty needed to get his glasses changed or something. Give him a hard time. So, thanks, Charles, for calling in and throwing a curveball at the top of the show.
Making our day.
Yeah, getting Carol all worked up.
Well, I don't
She
really.
was already worked
I
up.
don't really enjoy it when people talk about gay people.
Well, that's because they're insecure with
Very
themselves.
insecure.
Yeah, and
You
it's
know, I
unfortunate.
just think that's not right.
No, it isn't.
I mean,
And
he's
because they're
got his
humans like
opinion,
everyone
and I
else.
understand it, but just to have so much hate,
Yeah.
you know, it's not right.
It is not. It is not right.
It's like the Black Lives Matter. It's not right that laws aren't the same, and it's the same thing when it comes to gay people. It's not right to hate and feel you're different than them because you're not.
That's true.
You're a human being. You bleed just like they bleed, and
That's true.
they might be a soldier next to you fighting one day and saving your life.
Yeah. Like every now and then I get this little message that says poor wireless connection, trying to reconnect. And I'm wondering if it's a problem with the computer sitting too close to the iPad. I don't know. If you guys can give me a little heads up here, is the stream coming on okay on Facebook Live? Just text in the message box and let me know. So I want to get this perfected so it's good for a good user experience.
But can they
Al
hear it?
Greer,
They
okay,
can
you say
hear
it's
us,
good.
right?
Yeah, you can hear us clearly, Al. Al's a broadcaster, so I know he knows what I'm referring to from a technical term.
Can we talk a little bit about this Kim Kardashian thing?
Absolutely.
You know what I find really weird? It's just working with celebrities myself.
Mhm.
Even most people's house, like your house, you have surveillance. She has it, but why wasn't it on that night? And why wasn't it on downstairs? The only time they have a video of that is when the cops were called. It's just, to me, I just feel it was all
So you think it's
for
fake?
press.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I believe it was fake. It's just too phony.
Interesting.
All of a sudden, there's a other person that was in there, and she hid in the bathroom. Now, where did this person surface from all of a sudden? And where were her children? Because she's supposed to be this mother that her kids are always with her. You know, there's just a lot that don't make sense. People like that don't have just one bodyguard. Because when I go on the road, and they go to bed at night. There's bodyguards sitting outside that door.
So this is in France? Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
She,
And this is a
I don't
place that
care.
they own there in France?
Well, first she says hotel, and then they say place. On where I'm throwing to is, how was she screaming if they gagged her, and how would she get zip ties off? So see, something just doesn't make sense to me. And what bothers me more than anything is, why do we let something like this dominate our press? A little reality star that did a porn flick once, put a fake ass in, and everything else on her is fake.
Mm.
Why are we letting this dominate? Because I don't watch their show. I have no desire to. But
Well, there's a lot of people that
there's
do,
so many things
unfortunately.
in news that were happening around the world that were way worse than this. I mean,
Yeah.
didn't Drake get robbed recently too in a hotel? But it was no big deal. They talked about it and it left. But she's got what, 20 cars leading her to her place when she hits New York. Why didn't she stay in Paris to make sure she filed claims on all this jewelry?
Yeah, $10 million. Now, why in
Yeah.
the hell would you travel with $10 million?
Well, I seen her on, I think it was Snapchat and Instagram. She was showing that ring. So
Okay,
to me,
well,
it
there
was
you go.
like, there's something not right. Why would you not have surveillance and you're supposed to be this star? I don't know what she's a star for. I never watched her porn flicks, so I can't tell you how good she was, but I've heard she was quite professional.
Oh, okay. I never
Yeah.
saw it either.
No, I haven't either, but I have friends that have,
Mhm.
and they said she was very professional. So, but then just to have all that money and you're Conway West's wife, or maybe his, what do you call it when they're blocking because maybe he likes the other sex more?
Oh, stop it. Really?
Well, that's what a lot of people say.
Mm.
I don't know, but and then you stop your show and you're supposed to be rapping and singing, and when you do this, it's still going on in the background. You're rapping and singing. You
Well,
forgot to turn it all the way down because I didn't know people lip rapping that. I know they lip sing.
well, he had to go protect his wife,
Oh,
so he
please.
didn't
It
care.
took her 12 hours to get here. You can't tell me something's not right. Something's weird.
Yeah, it could be. Nothing surprises me
Well, I
anymore.
think because they're not dominating the press, everybody's been on Brad and Angelina, which I'm a little sick of that too. I could care less. They've got a divorce and he's very sad. There's things like, what about this young girl that has a baby and her in a two-story place, and I think it was premature. It's alive, and she throws it out the window. Why
Jeez.
aren't we worried about things like this? Why are these young girls all killing their babies? And it's happening constantly. But we don't seem to really care about that.
That is sad. But
Very sad.
and I kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, very sad.
How we can sit here and talk about serious stuff, and people will not really pay attention. They won't stay with you long. But we sit in here and talk about Kanye West and his wife and the drama that they're going through, and Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, and that kind of stuff. And people seem to gravitate to that nonsense more than stuff that's important, like all of the information that's in this handbook, California General Election Guide. This is what people ought to be paying attention to.
Or the hurricane that's going on that
Yeah.
will possibly hit Florida.
That's right. I talked to Andre a little while ago before coming down to the studio, and he said he's getting prepared. He has 4 houses that he has to prepare for the storm. He's saying that if it's only a hurricane level 1, that's about 75 miles an hour sustained winds.
Wasn't it a level 4 or 5? Oh,
Yeah,
it's-
one time just before it hit Cuba and Haiti. Usually, when it hits land mass, it'll break down, and then as it moves back into warm water, sometimes it picks up. So they're predicting maybe a level 1 that might hit the coastline of Miami and further north in Florida. Now, the thing about that is, when I looked at it on the map this morning, it looks like it's not going that far inland, maybe 10, 15 miles, maybe. And if that's the case, and you're getting the edge, but not the eye of the storm, the eye is still out in the middle of the ocean. Now, don't take that for no big deal because the outer bands can be pretty damaging as well. And sometimes tornadoes can flip up in the outer bands. But a lot of rain probably. And if the people that are in South Florida, if you are east of I-95, which is the main interstate that runs north and south, if you are east of I-95, you should be somewhat concerned because from 95 east is maybe 8-10 miles. So if the heavy winds come in that far, you can fully expect some damage. Now, if you're further in, and certainly if you're on the west coast of Florida, you don't have much to worry about because it's not stretching across the entire state, just the outer, maybe 5 to 8 miles inland. So that's how you got to read that. Then it's moving north. Now, as you move north, and if it stays on that same identical path, that means North Carolina and Virginia, which sticks out further into the ocean than that of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. South Carolina begins to edge out just a little bit. But North Carolina and Virginia, you're sitting out there a little further east. And the way this thing is looking, it might go a little further inland if it keeps the same strength and path. Now, those things do change. They can go left, they can go right. You never know. So you have to keep your eye on it. And the good thing about hurricanes, if there's a good thing, is you get enough warning that you can get the hell out of town. So if I was living right on the beach, if I was living in a condo right on the ocean front, I could get out of the harm's way within hours before it hits. Before it hits.
What about earthquakes that they're giving us a warning here?
Yeah, but those things are how accurate because they were.
No,
they
but
were
I'm just saying, if it did happen, what good does a warning
yeah,
do?
yeah. It may be 2 minutes before it happens.
Move your
Maybe.
car from an underneath garage.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on. That's not much of a warning.
No, it's scary.
Yeah,
Because remember, it's still going on today.
yeah, yeah. That's right. So,
I ran and got 2 cases of water.
did you?
Yeah.
And the building caves in and crushes all the water.
No, those ones are in my car.
Oh, okay.
But
And
like
your car's in the underground garage.
yeah, I might park up on top.
And then the ground opens up and sucks your car into the ground.
Oh, this is so great. I don't know if he's been in, have you been in many big earthquakes?
Oh yeah, I have.
They're pretty
Yeah.
frightening. I told
Oh.
people that live with me, don't panic, don't open the door and run out and leave it open, because if my cats get out, you're not getting back in.
Uh-oh. Oh damn. They'll probably be up under the bed or something. Because animals detect the earthquakes and storms and what have you before we do.
They do, because
They do.
we had a small one, I think, was it last week or week before? At 3 in the morning, all of a sudden my fat boy,
Yeah.
he jumped up on the bed and was waking me up and trying to make
Really?
me
See?
move. Yeah.
But
And
see,
it's like that dog at the beach. Maybe he's sensing something. Maybe he
Mhm.
thinks I'm the earthquake. I
Yeah.
don't know.
we had a toy poodle. His name was Scuffy.
He makes fun of my cat's name, Scuffy.
Well, I didn't name the dog. That was Sarah's dog,
Scuffy.
Scuffy. And the earthquake that hit up there in Northern California back in the early 90s, I was living up there then. And he was just freaking out, maybe a minute or two before. And I was getting ready to sit down to watch the baseball game. And he wouldn't settle down. And usually when I go into the family room and sit on the sofa, and he'd jump up there and lay next to me or get in my lap, and he's kind of a cuddle dog.
A cuddle dog.
He wouldn't settle down. He would jump up on the sofa, run across the back of it, jump down and flip around, and I'm going, "What's wrong with you, Scubby? Come here." And he wouldn't settle down. And then all of a sudden the TV went out. It was static. And then we heard a rumble. And then the house started shaking. Now it's a brand new house, and the contractor says, "Oh, this house is built so strong it'll take a 8.0 with no problem." So I felt fairly secure based on what he's telling me, right? This house began to shake. The chandeliers are swinging. I'm going, "Oh damn, this looks like the big one." Now, understand this. The center of the earthquake was 80 miles south of me. I'm in northern Marin County, the last exit before going into Sonoma, a little town called Novato. And we could feel it to that degree that far north. My friend Keith Adams, you've heard me talk about it. Keith has been on the air with us, who's Ron's brother in law, Ron Ellison. They're married to the same girls, not the same girl, but a couple of sisters from the same family. But anyway, make a long story short, Keith was actually on the Bay Bridge, the bridge that a section or two caved in, just went into the ocean, into the bay. And he called me up from his cell phone. He goes, "Lee, this is ugly." He says, "It looks like one of those Godzilla movies. People coming out of their cars with their hands up in the air, running back towards the land." Now, he was coming from San Francisco, going back over to Oakland, because he lived over on the East Bay side. He said, "Man, I thought I was going to pee in my pants." The kid is a big guy, right? So he was right there in the heart of it.
One of those bridges went down though, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the Bay Bridge.
Now I have a question. We're sitting here with our microphones.
Yeah.
Now we're expecting a big earthquake in California. Today's the last day if it doesn't happen today.
Okay.
And it happens right now. Would you stay on the air?
My dumb ass probably would.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will make sure that you get out.
You
wouldn't have
you
to
won't
stay.
have to make sure because I'll be gone. I don't want the upstairs with all that, whatever's up there.
Yeah. There's another level above
I'll be in
us,
a doorway.
Yeah.
Under
I'll-
the table, possibly.
I'll end up being a pancake.
No, because I've seen news people and the earth's going. And I seen this one, I think it was one of the stations with the one brother.
Yeah.
You had to see his face. And what's funny is most of the time when you watch news,
Yeah.
they don't have the whole suit on. Sometimes they got jogging shorts and you just see the top.
That's true. That's true.
So, when they get up, it's like,
Yep. Got the shirt and tie and
so I always
suit
wonder
coat.
that because we've had 7 points, huh? Always before. Wasn't the last one that?
I think it was high 6 if I remember correctly. Was it a 7? I don't think it was a 7. It was a 7 up north. I don't think the one here in LA was.
Well, I keep hoping
That
up
big.
north's going to get it because don't San Diego, that fault go
San Di-
there too?
Yep, it runs all the way.
So maybe it'll go that way.
Well, San Andreas Fault does run through the southern part of California as well. It goes all the way up north to south, almost border to border. It's a long one. Let me see. Earthquake. Last large earthquake in California. Let's look at it that way. Let's see. List of earthquakes in California in Wikipedia. Let's look at that. There was a 6.0 on August 24th of 2014, North Bay. Total damage between 362 million and $1 billion. That's a wide spread. Los Angeles was a 5.1. That was in 2014. Baja California, a 7.2. That was also, no, that was a 2010. April of 2010. January of 2010, North Coast, wherever that is. That was
What
6.5.
was the Northridge one though?
Northridge. Let's see. Los Angeles. That must have been around 94, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that was in January of '94. That was a 6.7. 57 people died from that one. And then let's see, where's the other one here? There was one in '91. It was a 5.6. And in 1990 there was a 5.7. These are all in LA. In '87, 5.9. In the Inland Empire, '92, there was a 6.2. Where's North Coast? What is that considered? I don't. Maybe is that up the northern part, extreme northern part of California?
Yeah, on the coast.
Okay, there's been
My one
several up
friend
there.
has a place there.
So I think the one in '94 was the Northridge one, 6.7. I remember that one. I was living in Washington D.C. And I remember getting a phone call from Josefa. She was freaking out, scared to death.
Yeah, that house would shake, huh?
Hmm. I don't think she was living in that place then.
Well, at that time when we had that one, I was with my ex, and Nico was at someone's house, my daughter's house,
Hmm.
and he says to me, "Go get Clay," because I call him Clay, but he prefers Nico. Now I get in the car and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? It was always something like that with him.
Yeah.
So I get in the car and I'm telling you, it was like a war zone out there because I lived in Santa Monica then, and a lot of people didn't know how bad Santa Monica really got hit.
Hmm.
And I'm driving, there's no lights, pitch black out, and stuff all over the streets. There was a building on Olympic that literally was destroyed. It was a huge, like, office building for medical stuff and that.
Yeah.
When I hit where I knew it was her street, I turned and I hollered because you couldn't really see and all of a sudden here come all these people running from her apartment.
This must be an earthquake call from Jesse T.
That was rude.
Okay. Okay. All right. No problem. Got you covered. Okay. No problem. What I'll actually do is I'll go on the air and pretend I'm Jesse T. I'll do an impersonation. How's that? What do you think? Really? On your show? Okay. All right. I'll check it out. All right. Got I, I got to get back to my show. The Jesse T has just interrupted the Lee Michaels show. Talk to you later. Bye. Jesse T is a trip. He comes on at 5 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. You want to check him out. He's a realtor, and also a mortgage guy and character. That's the best way to describe him. And he was just telling me he's down in court today trying to evict somebody from one of his properties. And he may or may not be here at 5 o'clock today. So I told him I would do his show and impersonate him. And he says, "Oh my goodness, I'm not sure if I can survive that one. That'll be a hard act to follow." He's probably right. He won't have any listeners when I get through with him. Because I'll go on. Jesse's kind of not kind of. He's a Donald Trump supporter. So I'll go in there and just say, "I've changed my mind. I'm not going to support Donald. I'm I'm aligning myself now with Hillary Clinton." His listeners will freak out. But anyway, listen. When I watch TV, Carol, and I listen to the different pundits and spokespeople for the different candidates, it's like they've all gone to acting school. They come on and the ladies look all pretty and very prim and prompt and hair's all perfect and the makeup is absolute. And then they come out with all this crazy out of their mouths and go, what are you guys talking about? You know your candidate is lying out of his pie hole and you sit there and defend him. How do you do that and then go home and look at your children and fix dinner for your family or just be a regular person after you know you're telling a bold-faced lie? I don't understand that. How do you live with yourself? There are a few Republicans that have come out and say, hey, look, this guy's nuts. Now, I can't get down with him. And certainly most Democrats see that guy that way. I'm going to refer to him as that guy or him. And I don't mean to offend your dog, him, Carol.
Huh?
So you got him, her, and what, Fat Boy?
Yes. No,
So
him,
when I say
that
him,
way,
Fat Boy is him, right?
yes,
And what's the other one's name?
her and little man.
Little Man. That's the one I can't remember. Little Man. Him, her, and Little Man. So when I say him, I'm not talking about your him. I'm talking about the other him. The guy that I don't want to mention his name because he's so despicable and disgusting. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't acknowledge it.
That's little man.
That's a little man. There you go. So he's out bouncing around campaigning, going all over the country. He was in Colorado yesterday. And there was a reporter who was asking people who were standing in line to go in to see him speak. And the question was, does it bother you that, for 15 to 18 years he hasn't paid any taxes? And they said no. And so does it make you feel kind of stupid that you don't know what he knows? I think one person said, yeah, I'm not that smart. But it didn't seem like it was a problem for them, most of them. That was not an issue. Now, to me, it is an issue because, see, we don't have all the data. But when people say, I had a $916 million loss, that does not necessarily mean you lost $916 million. A lot of it is paper loss. It's just, accounting. Data in, data out. The value of something is not necessarily what you paid for it, but you can write off the full value of that. So it's a numbers game. And a lot of people just don't understand how that works. So did he lose $916 million? No. Hey, Johnny George, the guy with two first names, Johnny and George. How many times have you heard that one? A gazillion times, I'm sure. So you have to be clear on the accounting aspect of it. Now, did he do anything illegal? We don't know. He's being audited. So maybe that's why there were some questionable entries in his tax returns. Otherwise, they don't just audit you just because your name is what it is. Yeah. So we don't know what we don't know. Many people think that he's hiding something. I don't know if he is or isn't, and maybe he's just using this as an opportunity to keep his name out in the press. He's a manipulator of the media. I mean, he's good at. Whether or not he's a really good business person, I don't know. How do you lose $16 million being a good, astute, alert business person? If I lost that kind of money, you'd probably have to get in the submarine to find me. I'd have to escape big time. So if anybody loses that amount of money, almost $1 billion, that means investors lost, employees got shortchanged, vendors, contractors. The trickle down from that is enormous. It's huge. So, in all fairness, I think it would be wise for him to release his tax returns and show the details. Then maybe that'll take some of the media pressure off of it. If it's up and up, if not, then keep it under a lid and keep the people uninformed. I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Johnny. It is done every day, and while it is not illegal, you take the advantage of the loopholes in the tax system that we have. I get that, but it's a bit hypocritical when one does those type of things and then hurt people in the process. See, that's the problem I have with that. The number of people that have come out that have done business with him and expressed the pain and agony and loss. See, that's not very presidential as far as I'm concerned. That's an opportunist and a guy that manipulates the system to favor him, and everybody else gets the short end of the stick. That's the problem I have with utilizing the system in that way. No one should suffer for your betterment. That's called being self-serving. Everything is about you, and you'll hurt other people in the process. That's what I have a problem with. And then you're running on that, well, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to reduce the taxes for everyone. Now, that sounds good. Everyone would like to pay less taxes, no doubt. But can you make it work? Can you balance the budget with less money coming in? Yes, we all know that the government has been horrible at spending money on crazy stuff. We've heard, you know, things about a $600 hammer, $400 toilet seat, and all of those kind of things. Of course, those things are ridiculous. But it didn't just start. I've been hearing about that for 25, 30 years since I've been paying attention to politics. It's been going on forever. So it's not a new problem. And not one damn president, not one Congress has done anything about it. Why? Because somebody's benefiting from those bad deals. And then when Congress doesn't approve, they take a blind eye to things that go down, then how do you expect anything to change? See, I believe that it's not just who's going to be the next president, but are we going to change Congress? And Anthony Gilbert, you're right. Real Americans pay their taxes because we benefit from that. We all do. And we pay our debts, our bills, our vendors, our contractors, people that we do business with. You can't, as John Q. Public, go down to the grocery store and say, load up a couple baskets of food and get to the checkout counter and say, well, I only want to pay, 50 cents on the dollar. They're going to say, Mr. Michaels, I'm sorry, you're going to have to put that stuff back on the shelf because we can't do that. Or They deliver the food to you and you pay them later, but then you try to negotiate a better price. Is there a difference? No, absolutely. There's no difference one way or the other. You're right. The Rockefellers and the Carnegies and all the rest, the big guys that's built this country, financed all those deals. They were in cahoots. You're right, Johnny Pappas. You're absolutely right. And it's been going on for a long, long time. The Rockefellers, the Carnegies, what's the other guy's name? Oh, God. But yeah, I mean, they were all in cahoots. They financed each other's projects. Carnegie owned all the railways and the pipes to run the oil through. They buy up all the land that occupied the pipe path. They financed Henry Ford, and Henry Ford created an automobile, several of them, that ran off of hemp. But it didn't go down because, yeah, J.P. Morgan. It didn't get mass produced because the guy that owned the oil financed Ford. And so, he says, look, I can't grow this weed. It's illegal. Yeah. So that's why we are driving fossil fuel automobiles today. But there are other alternatives. Henry Ford had several cars on his property in Ohio, and he used a combination of plastic and this hemp weed that created a surface that was stronger than steel. It was never mass produced because of the steel industry, and who owned that? So the gangster banksters goes way back, way back. Yeah, the same reason they killed the streetcars. You're probably right. People support what they own. And if your idea gets in the way of their idea, then it gets shut down. I get that. It's not very American, but it does happen. It's like the broadcast industry. It's happening right now. There's a monopoly, two or three of them, that prevents you and I from owning broadcast properties. Price is too high, and they've pimped out the finance industry. You can't go get a bank to finance a radio station right now to save your life. Even if you were able to negotiate a deal at 50% of the market price, and you go to Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank, any of them, Chase, and say, hey, I need $25 million to buy this radio station, and they'll go, who's selling it? Well, I'm buying it from iHeart. So what? No, we're already in that deal, dude, and we're upside down. I'm not going to give you $25 million to buy the station that we finance that costs $300 million. I can't afford that haircut. You see what I'm saying? So unless you can write a check, maybe Johnny Pappas can write a check for 25 mil. Can you do that, Johnny? We can go buy some stations. But see, that's the problem. Not one bank in America would be interested in financing a radio station right now. Stations are over leveraged and it killed the industry. The investment bankers, the greedy bastards, came in and saw that 40, 50, 60% margins of profit and lost their damn minds and created a bidding war. Station prices went through the ceiling. They went nuts. And I told them all, as I was sitting in those board meetings with a number of them when they was trying to inquire the real value and who the real players were in the stations. And I said to them, I said, you guys going to create a real problem here. You're paying too much for these stations. It's not going to work. You're eventually going to hit that wall. You can't downsize, eliminate enough jobs to make these numbers work. You can't. It's impossible. They didn't listen. Now you got companies like iHeartMedia with $21 billion in debt. What do you think is going to happen? They're eventually going to walk away from it. And a lot of people are going to be hurt in the process. The employees, those that are left, the places they're renting property from, the advertisers, the community. It's not going to work. I know, Johnny, it's crazy. I said, he doesn't have a quarter. He's got about 25 million. Uh, well, those that might argue, Johnny, that it's fundamentally American, then they're not Americans. They lost it. And if we continue to go down that path and operate in that way, where's the future for our children and grandchildren and our grandchildren's children? Where's the future of America if we continue to be gangsters like the banksters? Is that really setting the right path? Is that what it's really all about? Or is that just being a greedy bastard? Is that being self-serving? Above and beyond just being selfish. See, that's I don't know. I'm not feeling that. And it has nothing to do with politics. It's about right and wrong. What makes sense? Common sense. At some point in time, we got to say, yo, wait a minute. I'm going to damage something here. I'm going to just, you know, mess up. Somebody's going to get hurt in this process. If we hurt enough people, guess what? You end up destroying your country. So that's how I see it. You might disagree, and that's okay. And we can talk about that. If you want to call in and be heard, 424-227-9461 is the number. 424-227-9461. Call in and be a part of the Lee Michaels Show. I think Carol is over here going to sleep. Wake up, Carol.
No, I'm not asleep.
Are you buying lunch today? If you go to sleep, you have to buy lunch.
No,
You know
it's
that, right?
Taco
That's
Tuesday.
the Lee Michaels Show rule. If you don't participate, you have to buy lunch for everybody. That's how it goes. I make up the rules as I go, like the gangster banksters. Oh, look at that dog. 424-227-9461 is the number to call to be on the Lee Michaels Show. I'm going to take a quick break here and maybe warm up the coffee and maybe take a couple of hits of some gunpowder. Come back mean like a wild dog. We'll be right back. Hang in there. The Lee Michaels Show, live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time on thepowerofvoices.com. What are you reading over there?
Huh?
What are you reading?
I was just looking at stuff on Facebook.
You got some juicy stuff.
Hmm.
Welcome back to the Lee Michaels Show. 424-227-9461 is the number to call. You can call right in and be heard. I can bring you in on Skype and you could be seen. We got it like that. 424-227-9461. Welcome back to the Lee Michaels Show. And Carol is here today. She's been kind of quiet. She came in not feeling real good today. She's pissed off about the dog that tried to attack her.
No, I'm just pissed off about life in general.
Oh, come on. Don't let life get you down.
No, it isn't getting me down. I'm just tired of the media. It's just the same. Is there anything good happening in the world?
Certainly. Lots of stuff. All the time. You want some good stuff? I'll find you some good
Yeah, I
stuff.
want some good stuff. I'm tired of the politics.
All right. But you know, nobody cares about the good stuff. That's the problem.
That's sad.
It is sad. I talked about it yesterday.
I mean, is anybody concerned? Why did Russia do some kind of thing where they had all the people get in bunkers underground? There was something if you Google it. Why were they? That makes you wonder. And I mean, he's refusing to stop bombing Syria and killing all those kids.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Yeah, well, we have an animal running for president here. I mean, he wants people. They're talking about go to the voting after you vote at your own place and go intimidate people that are Democrats.
Who's saying that?
I've seen it on the news.
Trump said that?
Some of his people.
Oh, really?
Go intimidate people. They can't intimidate me.
See, that's so un-American. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. You run a good campaign, you get your message out there, you do a good job of that, you win.
Well, supposedly, what is it, WikiWee or whoever the hell talking about they got some great stuff they're going to leak about Hillary.
Yeah, well, they come on with it. If you got something that's real, come with it. That's all. You know, if it's damaging, so be it.
I'm just frightened if this man makes it as president, but I don't think he will.
I don't think so.
It's scary.
I'm not going to underestimate him. I mean,
it gets me angry that they take my little bit of money.
Yeah.
And it don't matter what I claim I've lost, they still want my money. And this man is worth millions, supposedly.
Billions.
So if he's had all these losses, how could he even have billions? I'm just curious.
Because he's a gangster. Yeah. He takes advantage of people. When you negotiate a deal, Carol, if I said to you, you're going to sell me a car, and we agree that you're going to sell me the car for $10,000. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to make payments to you. I'm going to give you $5,000 down, and I'm going to pay you $500 a month. Okay, we agree. You say, okay, I can live with that. That's a fair deal. And then I come back 2 months later and say to you, well, you know, this car is not right. You know, I'm not feeling it, and I don't want to pay you any more money. I've paid you $6,000. So now I'm asking you to take a $4,000 cut, a loss. Is that fair?
No, but that's what he does.
That's my point. So why, you know, that's what he does. So he makes everybody take a haircut. And I guess you're supposed to be honored that you get a job working with his organization. But then you get screwed. And that's not fair. It's not American. It's not right.
I actually heard him think it's okay. Well, they didn't really do the job that I wanted.
Yeah, right.
I mean, more and more people are surfacing. There are people that worked at a golf course, and if a woman wasn't the way he wanted her to look, he didn't want her hired. And then I'm glad Marla Maples is stepping up, his ex. Mm-hmm. Didn't she turn his taxes in or something?
They're saying that's who leaked out the information.
Well, she just likes him. She said that she can't sit back and let that man become president. He's a horrible man.
Yeah.
I just can't believe some of the people that they don't, it's obvious they don't pay attention to what this man's really about. I mean, there's one thing being a Republican, but don't vote just to be voting. But then if you look,
Exactly.
they did a list of all Hillary's endorsements, and hers, there's so many and people endorsing her. Who was that? Was it a basketball player the other day and people got mad?
I didn't see
He's
that
a
one.
famous one. And people got mad because he's endorsing her. He has the same rights as everybody else.
Right.
He's real famous. I think he donates a lot of money to people.
It's a basketball player?
I think he's a basketball player. I seen something and people were really mad.
Hmm.
He's named the basketball player and I'll know his name. I don't watch sports, so
Well, there's so many of them. I wouldn't know where to start. Are you talking about
Barrett Barn is that I don't know basketball players' names.
who does he play for?
All I know is I seen something and people were mad. And I thought, well,
And what did he do? Let me
he's
Google.
endorsing Hillary,
Okay.
and people were literally angry about it. LeBron James, that's
Oh,
what it is.
LeBron. Yeah.
Yeah, people were very mad. You should have read some of the comments. I mean,
Why
I
would
would think
anybody
he
get
has
mad?
the same rights that everybody else has
Of
to vote
course.
for who he wants.
A lot of celebrities, and especially sports players, tend not to come out and endorse politicians for whatever reasons. Um, I think largely because of their endorsements, and they might be afraid that it might offend. You know, when you're making 10, 15, $20 million a year off of an endorsement, and so you got a Nike deal, and Nike is supporting him, and you come out for her, you might lose your endorsement. But it's okay for that corporation to endorse someone, but you can't. See, you see that
Well,
the bullshit
I
there?
think it's great that he did that.
Well, he should. He has a
He's
right
not
to
letting
be an
money hold him
individual.
back.
Right.
He's doing what he feels because he sees what we see. This man is terrible. I mean, I've sat and watched the violence that's happened among blacks and
Hmm.
whites, and the only thing is they read up on us Native Americans with this pipeline, which nobody really wants to talk about. The Indians aren't violent. It's the people coming there with
And they have every
dogs.
right to be. All the hell
Well,
that the American
I
Indians
think
have
we
gone
do
through.
have the right because I sit back and I just hear even friends of mine fighting about this is our and we should get a retribution, different races. And I'm like, why? This wasn't your country. Nobody owes you nothing. You could just because your ancestors were brought over here in different ways. And it's not just one race that was brought over here to be slaves. It's all different races. I don't like what they did when I see pictures of how they hung African black people and stuff they did to kids. Then it just makes me sick. But they also did the same thing to Native Americans. I mean, I have pictures where they nailed our little kids to trees. But
Yeah.
for some reason, they don't want to talk about this in schools. They want to avoid us like we don't exist, but we do exist.
That's true. Well, see, and the reason it's not discussed is because the American Indians don't own the books. They don't own the
No, and
school
there's
system.
not a lot
So
of us.
the story is going to be told to favor those who perpetrated
I mean, it took years
the
for
the
black
massacres.
history to be told in school. Years.
Yeah.
And I mean, Columbus Day, why are we celebrating Columbus Day? He didn't discover America. I didn't think he was here before my people.
I agree with you.
So I,
America was already discovered
so I think that
and
there's
fully occupied.
a lot of changes that need to be made. We need to all learn to love because maybe 100 years from now, there's not going to be any one set race. It's going to be all of a mixture. It's going to be
Well, it's pretty
a
much that way
yellow
now.
race,
Yeah.
mixture, not Asian. I'm saying. I'm just saying a race with mixtures because you're seeing it already
Sure,
in these kids, these young millennium kids.
that's right.
They're all. You don't see ugly kids any longer.
I am the father of the Rainbow Coalition. Okay.
Yeah.
My first son, who's in his 40s, his mom was African American. My second child, Sarah, her mom is Mexican American. And my youngest boy, his mom is Italian and Polish.
And I'll bet you they're all real good looking.
They better looking than me.
That's not saying much.
I've got a
I'm
face
just
for radio.
messing with them.
No, so I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that is America. America is a melting pot
Well,
of
that's what
everything.
is going to happen down the road. There's not going to be one set race. It's going to
Right.
be a mixture.
Right.
There is now, basically, if you really look. And I'm so tired of looking at all the hate. I think that's why I stopped yesterday and talked to homeless people because I wanted to find out why these young kids. I mean, there's one, if you go up in Culver City, it's under a bridge where the train is.
Hmm.
There's a young girl that is living under there just recently, and she's moved her furniture there.
Really?
If you go down Sepulveda here, there's a woman living under the bridge there, and she's got a flower in her, and her stuff's there. And if you stop and really take the time to ask some of these people, it'll break your heart.
Yeah.
They're not there because they want to be. We've made the cost of living so high. I mean, I make money, but I also have family I have to take care of. I have a daughter that's ill. I have a son that's just starting to do well. I have a granddaughter just because she's been on the cover of things. That don't mean she's making a fortune.
Hmm.
So I'm there to help all of them, but it's very hard for young people right now because the cost of living. I mean, I don't eat red meat myself, and every once in a while I will have a steak or a hamburger, but a lot of people have quit eating red meat because it's too
It
expensive.
is. It is crazy.
And I know people they'll go out just to impress people and pretend they have all this money, and I laugh at it because you don't have to pretend. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
If people like you, they like you for you. They don't care if you live in a big house. It's not their house. They don't care if you live in a little house. It's
Yeah.
not theirs. People should like you for you. Like I was telling Lee, I recently ran into somebody I knew from working in Beverly Hills, and she recognized me. I didn't recognize her, which is nice when they still recognize you.
Mhm.
And got to talking to her, and she asked, could she walk with me the next day? Now, I don't like walking with people. I like my walk to be mine. So I met her the next day and found out she's been sleeping in her car. She sold her condo
Mm.
and she's trying to hold on to some of the money she made because the cost of moving in an apartment is expensive.
It
And
is.
she was at a hotel, $500 for the weekend. And I said, look, I'll rent you a room by the day. I'm just too scared to rent somebody by the month
Long term. Yeah.
or long term because you get these assholes in there, they move in your place. And then when they start not wanting to pay certain bills and start coming to your place drunk and cops banging on your door, they tell you, well, take me to court. That could take you a year and you're stuck with them in your house. So
Hmm.
I'm scared to rent my place like that. So I do a day to day. I make sure a paper sign notarized the state's day to day.
Right.
But I think if more of us reached out and found out why some of these people, and it is to reach out and help them, even if it's just to give them $5 once a week or do something. I mean,
Yeah.
we spend that on crap.
It'll mean a lot to them,
Yes.
and it won't hurt you. And I agree with you 1,000% about the whole homeless thing is a very, very sensitive subject to me.
Yeah, and
I
like,
don't understand why it exists.
and why take your stuff to Salvation Army or Goodwill? They sell it. Take
Yeah.
it to places that aren't selling it. Take it to homeless shelters, to places.
Mhm.
They're all over the city where these people have nothing because they don't might have money to go in there and purchase because even thrift stores are starting to get high. I mean, why should I pay $20 for some jacket just because it's a Prada? You
Right.
didn't pay nothing for it. They donated it to you.
Right.
They didn't expect you to go out there and sell it for all this money. That was why aren't you selling it for $3 or $4? And it just makes me sick. So
Yeah.
I suggest to people, drop your stuff off at shelters. Go to these boxes that sit now for the homeless because they do rifle through them and see if there's something in there. They
Mhm.
make a mess. I would suggest the homeless clean it up when they're done picking through the stuff. At least do that much and put them back in the box, which you don't want. Because it's sad to me. I mean, when you see young kids 20 years old and 18 and they're going to college and college is so expensive and even with scholarships they still got to come up with money. Financial aid they don't get that much. They get enough to cover the books. Now they can get food stamps or some general relief, but it still can't rent them an apartment.
Mhm.
So, the suggestion is ask these kids why they're out there. Don't sit and down them or say, I'm not giving that person $1. They don't want to work. Well, what makes do you really know that they don't want to work? It's like when we went downtown, did you see really drunks or drug addicts? I seen people that were
Yeah.
mentally challenged.
Exactly.
I didn't see drug addicts and drunks. Maybe there were a few that were in there. I seen a con artist coming through there.
Right.
So that day with me was very special when Josefa and Lee and Bella and we went down there. I really enjoyed that. And it was my birthday. Everybody was mad at me because they wanted to take me places, but I chose to go there. And it made me wake up and say, you know what? When I sit and cry because I can't do certain things, I think about it. It's like, would I really do it anyway? I never really did when I made a lot of money because I liked giving things to people. And I'm still like that. And I do it from my heart. So I think more of us should really stop and ask some of these people why we need to get a petition going to stop this rent, make them come down because it's getting worse and worse. They will not let you have a lease. They do month to month so
Yeah.
they can go up whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then when you gotta let people live in your house, sometimes it's tough, but hey, it's better than watching them live in their car.
Yeah. It's really really bad here in Southern California. There's so many, and it's been a lot of homeless people here forever, and
It's
and
sad.
largely because of the weather. It's you can survive outside year round here. Can't do that so well in places like Chicago in the wintertime.
But they do.
Yeah. Yeah. There are homeless people everywhere.
Well, I was reading an article where the millennium kids are kind of like hippies. They're buying
Hmm.
vans, a lot of them, and they're living in their vans to save money.
Yeah.
And I was reading this article on them. They do remind me of the hippie people. I think I was a hippie.
You're still a hippie. What
Yeah,
are you
I
talking
am.
about?
I guess I am because I could care less. I mean, I do like to dress up sometimes and
Yeah. Yeah.
show a man
Understood.
that I can look pretty hot when I want to.
Yeah.
But you know
Understood.
what? The good thing is, if they went to bed with me, at least when they wake up in the morning, I look the same. My hair isn't sitting on the side of the bed, or my false eyelashes, or my face has been washed off.
You stick on butt.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I have to tell you a funny story. Most people wouldn't tell you this, but I
Uh-oh.
went in the Groupon and I seen I don't like underwear, but I seen these pair of panties where they have these holes out in the butt where it's like a strap.
No.
And I said, you know what? I'm gonna get a pair. I'll bring them in and let them show you these.
No, 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 don't bring them.
But
I trust you.
I was telling my daughter this because we were looking on my group and I said, oh, I bought a pair of those. I figured, I don't need my butt lifted because it's okay, but I don't like underwear. And I thought, well, these might serve the purpose of covering certain things if they're a little see-through. I went to try those suckers on. It was like putting a girdle on, even though it had all the
Mhm.
holes in the rear end. And
Mhm.
I laughed later. I said, well, what the hell was I thinking? Why don't I just buy some big bloomers if I feel I need to wear some sometimes? But I don't even know anybody I could give it to.
Probably not.
Did you ever do something dumb like that? Think you bought something and you think about it later, you go, what the
Yeah.
hell was I
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah.
What'd you buy?
Yeah. I've done that
What'd you
a
buy?
number of times. Oh, it probably gadgets, stuff that it looks cool sitting in the store, and you go, wow, that might be nice to have, and then it sits in the box for 6 months, and you never even open it. So,
Or when you do, you don't even know how to use it,
well,
or it doesn't do what it says it's supposed to.
exactly. Yeah, it's garbage.
Isn't it funny things we do?
Yeah, it is. That's all a part of being human.
It is now. Was that in Chicago where those people drove by and shot the bus driver in the head? He got caught in the crossfire and he had all those young high school kids in the. That
Yeah,
was horrible.
yeah,
I mean, I had to say something bad. I mean, that's not nice. It's horrible what's going on. Sometimes I don't even want to talk about it. But sometimes we need to be aware of our surroundings. I tell my kids that all the time. Pay
hmm
attention. I've told every one of them, take this serious when they talk about earthquakes because we know we are going to get one sooner or
hmm
later. At least have a flashlight in your house,
yeah, you better.
some water,
Yeah,
maybe some band aids,
some non-perishable goods that you can
and your
access.
shoes by your bed.
Yep,
That- And your valuables, put them in your purse every night.
yeah, well, it's a good idea,
No, I seriously am. I get like that. I think about it and I go, oh, maybe I should put my stash in my purse. But then I get worried, what if I forget to take it out in the morning and I'm walking around with it?
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, my really biggest fear is my cats. What if they run into the bed and the floors come down?
You know what? They'll probably have a better chance at surviving than you and I.
They can run.
Yeah. And they can get under things that, require smaller space than, what you and I would. And they can survive longer, even
I
if they get trapped.
Now, what is your biggest fears in life? Just things about your kids or just anything. I mean, what are your fears? Do you have fears?
Oh, of course. My biggest fear is um, a number of them, actually. To know that my children are healthy and doing okay, and my grandchildren. I don't worry about me so much. I used to, but I don't worry about me so much now. My health is in decent condition. I don't take any medications or anything like that, so I'm pretty healthy. So I don't worry about my health so much. Um, Being able to know that I can survive for the rest of my life without having to be homeless. So if something catastrophic were to happen, to have that comfort that you'll be okay. You know what I mean?
You mean like an earthquake and everything, all comes
Yeah.
down?
Well, that or maybe I wasn't able to earn money. Could I survive? And for
See,
how
I
long?
have those fears too.
Yeah.
My fears are more like with my children. I mean, I think about. I always say every month, I'm not going to help them out, but they're
Yeah.
my kids, and I'm not one of these parents that pay their rent and do all this stuff. But if they come into a problem and they can't come up with their rent money, I will come up with it one way or the other because I'm their parent. They're going to always be my kids, but I'm not one of these parents that's going to do everything for them because the only
Right.
way they're going to learn is they got to go out there and face the world. And the only way of facing that world is when you find out what it's like to struggle.
True.
You don't struggle, you'll never understand it.
See, but there's two ways of looking at that whole thing with your children if they get into a financial problem and they need assistance. I always try to explore the options. What are the options? Okay, you short on your rent. Is that a short-term short? Is that just something happened and you had to use that money to take care of something else? Or is this going to be a long-term short? Like you lose your job and you don't know how long it's going to take before you get a new job, then I would look at it from this perspective. How long will I have to subsidize your overhead before you get liquid again? So if it's saying 6 months, then I would look at the expense that I would have to bear. And maybe at that point, I might say it's time for you to come on back home.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And cut all of those expenses because it'll cost a lot less for them to live under your roof than trying to keep two roofs going.
No, but then I'd have to put the people up that are paying me money.
Well, yeah, that's.
But I feel the same way as you do. I
Yeah.
really do because, my kids come into problems sometimes, but it's not all the time. And
Yeah.
I am there to help them out. And 9 times out of 10, I get paid back. But, it's like I always tell my kids too, if you're going to have a pet, you better look at that pet as having a child because
Yeah.
if something happens to them, you better have money to pay for your pet to go to a doctor, a vet,
Mhm.
because I can't always be there. And I always tell my kids too, because I'm like a workhorse. You get me a bunch of clients,
Yeah,
go get them for me. I'll do them. I'll make the money.
that's
I
right.
like working, but getting back to it, that is my biggest fear is the day, what if I can't work one day? Is
Yeah.
someone going to be
Yeah.
there for me?
Exactly. And I always said to him, if I fall over and die right now, what are you going to do to survive if I'm not able? I'm not here. What are you going to do? So I always tried to prepare them to be self-sustaining.
Thank you. I'm the
And
same way.
yeah, and so far, knock on wood, they're all doing okay. I don't have to send them money anymore.
See, I
I,
had a
I
friend.
have to call them sometimes, say, hey, transfer some money to my account, and they're happy about doing that. So we'll make it work. That's what family is all about.
No, I had a friend once. They owned all the $5 clothing stores. They started them,
Really?
so they made millions.
Mm,
But then people got hip to that, and they go, "Well, geez, we can open a 99-cent store. We can go buy all the clothes out." So
yeah.
their businesses went down, but their kids were never educated to what it's like to struggle.
Mm,
And my friend, she had a nervous breakdown because she was used to her big Mercedes. And it was so hard for her to give up her big house.
so
And she literally went crazy. But the thing is when
that's
she
sad.
had all this money, she always thought she was above people and she didn't treat friends the way she should.
Mm,
And she didn't treat housekeepers. She was not nice. And this all came back to her
yeah, it
when
will.
this happened. She couldn't handle it. She kind of went crazy, and I warned guys to stay away from her. She's crazy. So somebody I know went around her, and at the time when she was crazy, she all of a sudden became the Virgin Mary. And this person touched her, and she went off telling
Wow.
them, "You shouldn't have touched the Virgin Mary. I'm the mother of Jesus."
Oh gosh. Yeah,
And
she went off the
she
deep end.
went off the deep end, but she came back to earth. But she's never, I can't go back around it. She's never been normal. But her children, because they were so spoiled rotten,
Hmm.
they didn't know how to survive. Now, one of them learned how. She went out and got a waitress job, and there she got a bartender. But one of them, she could never handle it. It just bothered her so much that she couldn't flaunt her money in that.
Yeah.
And
So
that's a lesson.
they were living on that moment of a lot of cash flow coming
Oh,
in.
they
They
were
didn't
making
prepare.
millions from those
Yeah.
$5. You can look them up. They were making millions. But I always tell people, don't ever be so
Mhm.
smug with yourself and be so mean to people because I'm not mean to people. I don't make fun of people. And don't ever be like that because one day you don't know where your life's going to be. You don't know
Yeah,
if you're going to have all that money.
that's true.
I used to have Gettys for friends and clients of mine, and I
Hmm.
had one particular Getty I did, and she grew up without money. She was one of these people that was a couch surfer with her mother.
Mm.
And she happened to marry. She happened to be with Francis Coppola's son first. And when he got killed, she was pregnant with his child. So
Mm.
Francis Coppola was there for her. Then she married one of the Gettys, and she was mean. But so when she went to divorce him, she wanted me to lie and say I seen him throw her down. I didn't see him throw her down, nothing.
Wow.
So it became a big battle for me in between all the Gettys and that. But to make a long story short, she was really mean. She was very selfish. But when everything was taken from her, because what they do when they're wealthy like that and it's the family's money,
Hmm.
they keep that in one pile.
Yeah.
They don't give it to their kids
Yeah.
because they know
Yeah.
something like this could happen. So
That's right.
they froze all her credit card. You know who went and did her hair and even paid for free? Me.
Mm.
Even though she wasn't nice a lot of time. But when she settled in court, did she know me after? No. She didn't know me. And I've had that happen many times with people. And it's funny, she'll never have that kind of money again. But
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so many times because of like when you talk about the Rockefellers,
Yeah.
I used to do one of their granddaughters. And one of those Rockefellers, which was her father, he stole all their money that was their inheritance.
Wow.
So sometimes they go through hell worse than we do because
Yeah. Yeah.
they become very selfish. They just in their minds don't think this will ever happen to them.
See, you were telling the story about the people that had the $5 was it a clothing store?
Yes.
See, what they did was they got they became very comfortable.
It wasn't the husband so much, it was her.
But I understand. But see, what they didn't pay attention to was things change. And I talk about it all the time. America changes, the world changes, and just because you have a little dynasty, something that you own, and you're the only one in that space, you have to anticipate. You know, forget about the dollar stores or the 99-cent store. Somebody else could come down the street 3 blocks away and do another $5 store, and suck 25% of your business away. So you're hurting. So you got to be able to read the signs and be able to pivot. And maybe what they should have done was taken some of those millions they were making off the $5 store and started a chain of $1 stores.
Yeah.
They would have been ahead of the game. So if the $5 store falls off the shelf, you're good over here at the 99 cents or a dollar store, a dollar and a half store, whatever you're going to do. So you pivot and you got a backup plan. They didn't have a backup plan.
No.
They
Funny
were
thing,
thinking right now is the only thing, and they thought it was going to last forever. And you can look at every business, every industry, and see that same chronic
well,
problem.
you know
People
what it
make that
was
mistake.
too? She spent money like crazy.
Hmm.
And she was a beautiful woman because she was Asian and black and he was Jewish.
Hmm.
But she was so mean to her housekeepers and just and one of her
Mm.
daughters acted just like her. And I felt bad for her because I'm that kind of person, but then I thought about it. You know what? You weren't nice.
And that's what happens.
But getting to the dollar stores, I love them. I come out of there and I spend $20 and I got 2 bags of stuff. I brought people in there and they think they're too good for it. Say maybe they're out of work at the time and they're like,
Yeah, I went over to the Dollar Tree store because you told me
yeah,
about it, and you gave me a gift of, and I'm gonna show this little pouch here, and it's a little cloth pouch. It has a little Velcro clip on it, and I put my iPad in it. It kind of protects it when I throw it into my bag. And I went to Vegas, and I think I lost it on the bus. It probably fell down on the floor under the chair or something, and I didn't realize it. So I had to go get a new one. So she told me to go over to the Dollar Tree, and I got it for $1.
yeah, don't you
One
feel
buck.
good?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you'll go
it's
somewhere
perfect.
else and you'll see that same thing for $20.
Exactly. So forget
So
about it.
people that feel they can't go in a dollar store, you should really go in there. I mean, you wouldn't believe what you can get in dollar
I was
stores.
surprised, and I went in there for this one thing, and I bought about 6 or 7 other things.
What did you buy?
I bought some lemonade. What else did I buy? I bought a pack of yeah, sure,
You know what else too? You can go in there, you can get
8
glue.
batteries, AA
Yeah.
batteries for $1. Even if they work half as well as the other batteries for $1, yeah, I'll try it. Made by Sunbeam, super heavy duty.
Yeah, people would really research and coupons and stuff. It's like I go to TV shows sometimes because
Yeah.
I get some free gifts. I got this new charger, and from what I understand, my granddaughter told me it can be charged by the sun too. She
Oh,
wanted
that's
it
cool.
because it was inside a backpack I gave her, and she called me up. She said, "Where's the charger that's in?" I said, "I kept the charger." No, I wanted it. It's a solar charger too, and I said, "I kept the charger."
Oh, that's
But
cool.
sometimes if you go to these TV shows, you'd be shocked. It was like Christmas for me because remember I told you I spent
Yeah.
2 days at the doctor's because I enjoyed the show. I think it's one of the best shows, and they no longer have a bunch of doctors. They have
Right.
two, and they through the whole show they're bringing one doctor after another.
Hmm.
Now I do miss your friend Rachel. I think she'd be
Dr.
great
Rachel.
back on there.
Yeah.
But it was very cool because each of them, maybe some of them had something they created. So I got some killer skin stuff that
Hmm.
cost like $300 and $400. I got
Wow.
one thing that was called the Vision Card, where you know how now they deliver food where it's pre-made and the
Right.
calories are counted.
Right.
I got a $200 gift certificate.
Wow, that's
Now you
nice.
got to use it right away because within a week they won't honor it. I went
Wow.
right in. I ordered my
Got your
food.
food, right? Was the food good?
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
One of my, I don't like real spicy. There was a cabbage, a bell pepper roll. It was a little spicy.
Uh-huh.
So the girl that lives with me ate that, and I gave my son, I think, 4 meals.
Oh, cool.
So I have a freezer with meals in it, and I tell people sometimes when you're not doing nothing and you're not working that day, you can either get in with where you can join these things where you're a paid audience.
Hmm.
I think they make like anywhere from $35 to $75 for each show they sit out,
Wow.
and they go all day and do this. And I notice it's young and old that do it. So sometimes when you're not really doing anything and you're sitting around, think of those things you can do. Go to these shows
Yeah.
because you're going to walk out with a great gift.
Wow. Nice.
I have
I've never
friends.
been to one of
Oh,
those.
you wouldn't believe
Yeah.
the gifts I got. Dryer, I gave to my daughter.
Oh, nice.
Backpack.
That was Christmas.
Oh, you wouldn't believe the skin. I love skin stuff for my
Mhm.
skin, and
Mhm.
just it was like Christmas for 2 days.
Now, the doctor's show, was it predominantly female in the audience?
No, well, the audience, I would say half of the audience is a paid audience.
Paid audience?
Yes, a lot of them do that for a reason. I think because
Ensure that they got
and
a
they
full
don't get
house.
a promotional gift. They get paid, so they don't
Oh,
get the
okay.
gifts. But
So there were guys in the audience as well?
there was some guys, but a lot of out of town people.
Mhm.
Most people were audiences like me. Some of these were retired people. They go to shows every day
Wow.
because they're retired now, and they get
They
all
got time
this.
to do it. Yeah.
No, but they get all these gifts, and some of
Yeah.
them sell them.
eBay.
So it's always a way
Yeah.
to survive. I realize that.
Yeah. You got to use your creativity.
Oh, I'm very creative.
Yeah.
I have it. The people laugh at me because I know how to shop for groceries. I know where to get like my friend now. She goes to Northgate, Josefa. She buys
Mhm.
stuff from there.
Hmm.
I know she didn't go there before.
Hmm.
And I took her to another store once, way out in San Fernando Road. It's like by Glendale.
What's the name of that store?
You know, it changed. I
Oh, okay.
sometimes can I tell you some? I can read a book and not tell you the title. I can go into a grocery store and not tell you the name of
Name
it,
of the
but
place, yeah, but you know where it is.
I know where it is. You can go in there. You can get vegetables and fruit because
Yeah.
they have their own farms.
Ah.
And it was owned by two Armenian brothers, which sold it now for millions.
Wow.
And now somebody else owns it, and they still have a big
The
Armenian.
quality is still the
It's so
same.
packed in there, it's ridiculous. Like you
Mm.
get fresh cheese for almost nothing. I get cranberries. I think it's in that. No, is it that? Yeah, it is that store. I go in there and I get cranberries, the dried ones.
Hmm.
Why should I pay 5 something a pound when I can get it sometimes for $1.99 a pound there?
Wow.
And
That's a big difference.
it is a big
Yeah,
difference.
you-
But
you-
I
you can-
drive out there and I used to have a friend I drove with all the time. And one time, sometimes they get lobsters because they get these fishermen.
Hmm.
You'll go over to somewhere and you'll pay $5.99 for a small lobster tail, maybe $6.99.
Hmm.
They'll have deals where maybe you pay $2.99.
Wow.
So I'll
That's
buy
nice.
like 20 of them and bring them to my friends. Say,
Sure.
hey, you want to buy these?
Right.
Because some of them don't want to drive there or they're too snotty to deal with the
How long does it
crowd.
take to get out there?
Well, I know all the back ways. That's another thing about me. I
Mhm.
know all the back ways to get somewhere. So sometimes if it's not crowded, the streets and that, and I go at a certain time, it might take me 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad.
But it's worth it.
You go out there and load up, and
Oh, you could
you're
get,
good to go.
I bought salmon steaks there, the fresh salmon, and
Mhm.
I think I paid $3 a steak. I don't really, I know how to cook it at the time, so I ended up giving them away, but get some great deals. They have a fresh bakery, and a lot of foreign people can bake way better than us, especially Asians.
Mhm.
But they'll have fresh hummus. They make it themselves. They have all of that, and I'm telling you, I walk out of there and when they total it up, it's nothing. It's
Mm.
like Northgate over here. Great deals. You should go there sometime.
I have been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great deals, huh?
Mhm. Yeah. It's like primarily a Hispanic grocery
It
store.
is.
Yeah. And they do the fresh bakery in there as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
You know, the best thing though about them too is arnica. It's a salve, or you can buy it in the herb form, and it helps arthritis. It helps if you've had an injury. You can go to
Mhm.
a health food place, and they're going to want 40, maybe $80 for a tube of it.
Mm.
You can go to a Latin grocery store, and you can buy a little container. It's a salve, and you can pay $5, or you can buy it in the little packages where they have the dried seasonings.
Mhm.
You could take that and you can put them in some water, and then take some rags and you can fold them up,
Mhm.
and you make packs with them. You can freeze those packs so when you're ready to use them, you got it. Where you're not going to pay somebody a fortune, you're making it yourself. So I even buy my Bragg vinegar from those places because some places want too much money for it. So if you really know how to shop, you'd be surprised the money you can save. Because if I
And you
didn't
gotta
do
shop
that,
around.
I shop.
Yeah, because I was in the grocery store the other day and I wanted to buy some ground coffee, and it was like $6.99 for a small can. I went, you know what? I think I can do better than that. So over the weekend, I was looking through the newspaper, and Walgreens has a sale for $3.99 for the same one.
Dollar store has coffee too.
Yeah. So probably if I shopped around further, could probably find it for even less. But that was $3 less right there.
Well, it's like I think you eat a lot of turkey burger, probably like I do. Almost everything I bring you, it's never red meat, it's
Hmm.
turkey.
Yeah, turkey and chicken I love.
So turkey burger, if you wait and once maybe every 2 weeks at
Hmm.
Ralph's or 3 weeks,
Yeah,
it's usually $5.99, $6.99.
really.
If you wait and you buy enough and put it in your freezer, it's $2.47 for those packages, and it's the good. It doesn't have nothing
Hmm.
in it.
So the little popsicles I eat, the
Yeah,
fruit vegetable ones.
they've been on sale
Yeah,
now, right now,
I just bought two yesterday for like
at
2.77.
Pavilions, right?
No, I got it at Vons.
Yeah,
How
that's
much
the
was?
same. Bonds
Oh,
and
is it?
Pavilions. They
Okay.
have 2 boxes for a set amount and
Yeah,
cheaper.
it's 2.77 a box. Is
When
usually
you go though, I
3.99.
like the coconut ones with the coconut water and
Oh,
the
okay.
fresh pineapple.
I'm putting in an order right now. Right?
No, you see what I'm saying though?
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
I get done with Lee, he's going to be a shopper. He's
I am
going
a shopper,
he's going to be really good at it though.
but you see, the kind of shopper I am, I will make a list of the things that I want to buy, and I'll go in and buy that, and I'm out. I'm like a dive
I
bomber.
do
I
that too.
swoop in and swoop out. The only weakness I have when it comes to shopping is if I go to a place like Fry's or Best Buy, anything that's electronic, then I'm like a junkie. I have a problem.
Well, then you got to watch for their
Computer
sales.
stuff, and I do, and I'll put money aside just for that kind of stuff. And I discovered Amazon,
Oh gosh.
and I have to stay away from that because I'll just go through all my money in like a day.
You want to know what one of my favorite stores is? Home Depot.
That's another one of my spots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to try to paint, so. But
Okay.
I love Home Depot.
I do too.
I like going there by myself too. I buy
Yeah, I
my
do too.
cleaning stuff from there. It's
Yeah.
really reasonable and cheap there. I
Mhm.
don't like buying cleaning stuff from the dollar store unless it's in a spray can because it's not going to be good. It's usually watered down.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See, the shopper knows.
Yeah, Home Depot, you can get all your cleaning stuff really cheap. But I just have a fixation for Home Depot. And it's funny, when I'm feeling ugly about myself, for some reason, it's the place for a woman to go because I can look just like I look right now. And every time I go in there, some man wants to talk to me. So it brings my ego back up.
At Home Depot?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Okay. I do see a lot of attractive ladies hanging out at Home Depot. They come in with the little exercise outfits on.
Yeah, they're all in
Yeah,
exercise.
yeah, yeah. That's, that was, that's, I've noticed that for quite some time now. But I enjoy going to Home Depot because I like gadgets and stuff, and I'm pretty handy with my hands. In fact, I added Freon to the car, and I did a good job. And now
You
the
have
air
air.
conditioning is working fantastic.
See, that's the kind of man I
So like
like.
$39, I went up to Jiffy Lube, and they wanted $150 to charge the Freon. So I did it for like $39, and I take the can back and get $10 back. So for $29, $30.
You and my daughter would really get along because she does all that. She'll go on YouTube and tell them what's wrong with her car when
Yeah.
she had the older car, and
Yeah.
she'd tell it, and YouTube would come in and tell her what she had to do.
Yeah.
She literally could have become a mechanic. She became because
Yeah,
I
there's
did
a lot of
that.
information on YouTube.
Remember, I told you I did that on my sink because
Yeah.
it was a Sunday, and I go, they're gonna want triple price,
Yeah.
and nobody wants to pay for it. And what was happening is the faucet part, how it screws on, was leaking,
Yeah. You
and it
need a
was
washer.
hidden underneath. It was. I went online and it said unscrew there's a part of the sink.
Yeah.
When you have those new modern ones, it
Yeah.
comes unscrewed.
Right.
And it was. And luckily I did have washers. Put
There
the
you go.
washer on. Saved
No problem.
$300-$400.
That's right. A plumber house call would have cost you at least $100.
And another thing for your sink, if it plugs up and you have Clorox,
Mhm.
put it in the sink.
The bleach will.
It'll
Yep.
eat it up.
Eat it up.
Because mine was clogging up, and I poured Clorox in it. And then the girl that's staying there, she mentioned that. And I said, I already poured some in. For some reason, I go, let me see if this, and it unclogged it right away.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and there are other things that you can do that are natural that won't cause any harm to your appliances and what have you to unclog drains and stuff like that. So you just have to look around and do a little research. There's solutions out there.
yeah, because I have to repair a hole in my wall, and I guess I have to get some kind of netting patch.
Well, it depends. How big is the hole?
Well, the kid that lived there put a hole in my wall.
But how
and
big is it?
It's about that big. It's deep.
I can patch it for you. I'll do
He
it.
always tells me that it's sitting
I
there.
can do it. I've done. I can't tell you how many.
He,
Drywall is easy.
he never gets off work.
Well, that's true.
And if we have something planned,
That's true.
there's a blocker in there.
Oh, Friday, your headphone cable will be here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been ordered and it'll be here on Friday.
See,
Well,
he's
that's
a
what they
lot
said.
like my stepdad. My stepdad could fix anything. He would go to the junkyard and get TVs, repair them, and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
He built bedrooms, and we did the framing with him. He taught us how to frame. There was nothing he couldn't do. He would make purses. It was unbelievable the things he could do because to make up for money that he wasn't getting.
I'm upset at Best Buy right now. I ordered some VGA cables online and it was supposed to be at the store for pickup on this past Friday, and I'm checking now to see if it's come in yet. Yesterday it was still saying processing. I don't know how long does it take to process 2 VGA cables. I mean, give me a break. I'm about ready to make a trip down to Fry's, which I have to stay out of that store. Still saying processing.
I love a Thai restaurant that's over by there on Rosecrans. Is that the one you go to?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a Thai restaurant there that's really good.
Oh, okay. I love Thai food. One of my favorite thing is was it chicken pad thai?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly we've been eating Caribbean food, but if I waited on him, I'd be starving to death.
Okay, all right. I'm busted. You're right. And you know what? I found 2 places. One not too far from here, but the reviews on it online it wasn't that good.
Then you don't want that one.
And the other one was over on Venice. So and it's only 3-4 miles away.
But then sometimes their competitors will come in and put.
Yeah, crazy.
Lately I'm having issues with that where I'm having to remove people. They're coming in talking about a certain way I do extensions and talking about taped in wefts. I go, all a taped in weft is a hairpiece, and they've been around for years. Black people have been gluing wefts in for years. It's not new.
I want to say hello and thank you to Alan Wright and I'm gonna destroy this person's name. It's Taufeeq. Greetings, Lee, an old US Talk Network listener. Oh my goodness, thank you. Yeah, you found me. Here we are. And we're now on the powerofvoices.com, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. But thanks for checking in. We got to get out of here, Carol. You buying lunch today?
It's Taco Tuesday. We can go
Taco
get it
Tuesday.
for $1.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
Isn't
do
it
that.
all day?
Yeah.
And it's a taco something today too.
Yeah. Taco Tuesday means you can buy a dollar taco just about anywhere in Los Angeles. Most of the places have that little special going on. So we're gonna go out and eat some about $400 or $500 tacos. What do you think?
He never eat. He gets the enchiladas most of the time.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck on the chicken enchiladas. That's my favorite thing.
Which was your favorite?
Which
El
what?
Torritos or the one over by here?
They were both about the same,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, not too much of a difference.
Papa's Tacos is pretty good too, but the best ones are in East LA.
All right. Well, that's it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on thepowerofvoices.com. The Lee Michaels Show will return then. Are you coming in tomorrow? Or are you out on assignment again?
No, I wish I was on assignment because I need some money.
All right, we're going to have to get you some more side work. We'll run a commercial for you. How's that?
Yeah, because I'm too young to sell. Too old.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not too young. I'm too old, and I sure can't go strip somewhere.
Well, they have senior strip joints now.
I believe it's all senior men with young women. Did you see where that grandfather accidentally married his granddaughter?
No, I don't even
And he
want to hear
didn't know
about
it
that
was
one.
his granddaughter.
No, that's disgusting. All right. On that note, I'm out. Talk to you tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here. Did you make that up? Oh my God, are you kidding? Did you make that up?
What?
That the grandfather's
No.
doing it with his
Type it in.
granddaughter?
What happened is he wanted to meet somebody, and he went into this site, and it said for older men that want to meet a woman, and he met this woman, this young girl. But he said something when he seen her picture was familiar, and
Wow.
he married her, and they
No.
found out that was one of his son's daughter.